All right, I think I'm live. I should be live. Let me put my thing on live chat. All right, y'all. Y'all know me, so if you come in, give us a like, thumbs up, share it out, and subscribe helps the channel. So, and if you're new, welcome to family of people. For those of you who don't know, I used to do trucking on this channel. I just kind of talk about life and what goes through my quirky mind and the stuff around me experiences. I am Christian. I'm analytical. And I'm getting old, so I definitely see things the way I see them. If folks don't like that, then they don't have to watch. I'm weird, so I say that. Hey, Tanya, what's up? Thank you, baby. God has been good. So he definitely provided more than what I expected because I had prayed about it. And I'm still, y'all be praying because I'm still trying to sell Old Man Red. The fellas at work told me I should probably be able to get 800 or 900 for Old Man Red because he still does run, and but he needs work. I think he needs a transmission. I mean, he goes up and back and you can still drive him, but you got to feel the gears and it's kind of funky. So I'm praying. I had somebody call with the nine and said 900, but oh, I'm gonna get paid Friday. That was last Friday. Never did get back in touch with me. Milan, Arizona. I know Milan, AZ. Hold on, I know the name. Is that near, like, going into Tucson? Am I thinking the right area? Am I thinking correctly going into Tucson? Am I thinking correct? Flatbed. I know Milan. I know I've been there, and I know I've been to that Petro. Am I thinking correct? Is it the one, Milan, AZ? Am I thinking the right one? I think that has to be it, because there's no Petro north of here. Hey, Wendy. Oh, hold on. There is the Petro on the way into Phoenix from California. But hold on, is that, I thought that was like Buckeye. Is that, well, that could be Milan. I don't know Albert. You're going to have to tell me Albert. I don't know where Albert. Albert, I don't know who the hell Albert is. Are we talking about the one coming out of California? Because there is a Petro coming out of California. Jay, what's up, my brother in Christ? What's up, baby? Rest in peace. He still runs. He still runs, but he might end up at a junkyard if we can't get him sold here in the next few weeks because I need to get some loot. Because he might end up getting a junkyard call. I had one guy on, he offered 550, which is 50 more than what I paid. What I'm trying to recoup is that I actually paid about $300 for the lower ball arm, maybe less than 30 days, 30 to 45 days prior to this car. And I didn't want to put any more money into it. So I'm trying to recoup the 550 plus the 330. I would hope for 900, but anything between 700 and 900 I would be very happy with. But in worst case scenario, I would take obviously what I paid, which was 500, which I know I should be able to get at least 500 from a junkyard. There's a guy who keeps offering me the same thing through Marketplace, which is a towing wrecking company. And what I know, because it's Felix somebody, west of Albuquerque. Oh, hold on, that's Albuquerque. That's not Arizona, is it? I thought that was Albuquerque. Cause you got the Pilot. That Petro guy, I know which one you're talking about. That Petro has a good Indian. Y'all know my fat butt no food. That Petro has a good Indian restaurant across the street, homie. If you stuck like Chuck, go get you some Indian food. OMG, dude. I just thought about it. Okay, because I was like, I know Milan. I'm thinking Milan, Arizona. Okay. Okay, that's Albuquerque. So you just on the border. But there is I know there's a prison somewhere around there. I didn't know where, but I know they tell you don't pick up folk, which I wouldn't pick up nobody in the truck anyway. But Milan, right across the street from that Petro, I think there's a cafe if it's still open. I never went to the cafe, but I did go to the Indian restaurant 2 times. They food is on hit. If you like Indian food from India, that food is on hit. Bomb, bomb. And they got truck parking too. So you could, well, you can't move your truck, but you can walk across over there. It ain't far. Hey, Jaden, what's up? Okay, and let me go through here and see who all is in the house. Flatbed got me having flashbacks. Tanya, welcome. Flatbed, welcome. Wendy, welcome. Jay, What's up, my brother? Jaden, what's up, my brother? How you doing, son? All right. Yeah, she got me going back on some food. My fat butt no food. Speaking of, we're gonna be talking about weight here in a minute because I will be as soon as this check is gonna be covering my insurance, full coverage on that car, high as hell, y'all, high as hell. I'm good, Mr. Jayden. I'm doing good. I'm getting ready. One of the things I've decided based on some things that I'm feeling. Hey, Tiffany, what's up, baby? Based on some of the stuff that I'm feeling right now, I have decided I am going to join the gym. I'm going to be joining Planet Fitness. I just got to wait for my money to get right. Um, I noticed I was having some breathing issues again. I don't know if I've gained weight, or maybe I have. But also being 55, I believe my age is catching up to me. Now that I have the car, there's some things I need to get checked out that I never talked about. So I have I have a tremor that started happening in my 40s in my left hand. Okay. I did not notice it. It was actually, I was working at Aetna and one of the girls said, "Why is your hand, why are you shaking?" I said, "Shaking?" And she said, "Your hand." And when I looked down, my hand was shaking. I could see it. Other people notice it a little bit more than me, but it is noticeable. I notice it now when I pick up stuff, but my right hand is now being affected, not as bad as my left. So I need to go to a neurologist to get checked on what that is. Because I did not have a reliable car, the insurance company or my doctor's company, the group that they're with, which is becoming very prevalent, a lot of them are in Scottsdale. Now, I do like Scottsdale. So if y'all don't know about Arizona, Scottsdale is our ritzy area. Money. So obviously, what are you going to get better when you have money? Anything there in Scottsdale. I actually used to live in Scottsdale. I lived in what I call poor man's Scottsdale, which meant it was affordable at the time when I was working for Schwab. And even then, I wasn't in the hood, but I wasn't that far from Scottsdale hood. So everywhere, I don't care how ritzy it is, every city got a hood. Every city. It might not be hood like what we all used to, but it's some form of a hood, okay? So Scottsdale does have its own hood because guess what? The people that work for these rich folk got to have a place to live close to these wealthy rich folk. So there is usually an area where they can get housing. So I lived in an area that I won't say was hood, but it was just up the street and around the corner from the hood of Scottsdale. Okay, I'm just saying that. So your middle class, lower income people lived in the area in which I lived in south of there. So the doctors that I have to go see that I was being referred to were in Scottsdale. Well, I didn't have a really good enough car. I didn't want to bother Joe all the time, but now that I'm starting to age and I'm starting to see these things become increasing, I need to go talk to somebody and find out what's going on. So I'm going to do that. Um, Breathing is better, but it's intermittent. There's times when it feels like I walk and it's just like, and like I ran a mile. So I got to find out what that is. And we just going to pray. Well, it's in God's hands. I'm going to pray it's nothing bad. And just put it in God's hands that whatever it is, we can get it managed, maintained, and getting some of this fat off me, getting the fat off me will hopefully help it. But I'm at that age where it could be any and everything, but I'm gonna trust Jesus on it because it's all in His hands. Um, what else was I gonna tell y'all about? I took y'all on a tour of the car, so I said I was gonna do. It's hot as hell. What's the temperature? Okay, Flatbed, I know you in Milan, New Mexico. What is the temperature? Now, Albuquerque, if y'all don't know about Albuquerque, where Flatbed is at, so Flatbed is in an outskirts city of Albuquerque heading towards Phoenix, okay? So it's on its way heading towards Flagstaff. You just got to give me the bearings. It's on its way heading on Flagstaff. Is that I-40? Is it 40? I can't remember what interstate that is. What interstate is that? Is it 40? I don't know why I'm thinking 40. I could be wrong. Is it 40? Let me know if it's 40. Anyway, it's the interstate that comes out of Albuquerque. So you come Texas, Albuquerque, and then Arizona. So it is 40. I haven't driven in a minute, but homie, I got a little bit of it. So my last driving was 2019. I remember a little bit. And I used to drive I-40 all the time from Lubbock going into Cali to get produce and take it back to Lubbock. So I did 40 a lot. And even when I was working for that little bit, I was with that WFX company. That was 40 was one of their main corridors, which is a nice corridor because you don't have as much snow issues. You do sometimes, but nothing like 80. And yeah, nothing like 80. I-70, I-80. Whew. Whew. Oh yeah, it is a raggedy highway. Honey, I will give you that. There's part of it that's raggedy as hell. I will give you that. It is raggedy. Um, especially coming, well, Albuquerque, yeah, it's a raggedy highway. There's no way around it. It is raggedy. Yeah. It's actually the route to get to Lubbock. That's the route to get to Lubbock. You drop down to on your way as if you're going to. Oh, starts with an A, the Big Texan. I can't remember. Amarillo. It's like you're going towards Amarillo, and then you drop down through Clovis, New Mexico, and then go through some little back end highway. But you're all right. It is raggedy as hell. Um, but anyway, coming up through there, it's a nice corridor to drive because you don't have the snow as a truck driver, as you do, but nothing like I-70, I-80. Girl, they've been trying to fix that highway up. There ain't been no last dang 2 weeks. Girl, that stuff been tore up since I first started driving in 2009. My ninja, stop it. Let me help you. That been tore up since 2009. That ain't that. They've been working on that since 2009. It was tore up right around where that pilot is outside it. Girl, bye. Oh, we won't even go there. And that road to that pilot, girl, by the time you get done, if you didn't have hemorrhoid problems, you might. That, woo, baby, it was toe up. Anyway, back to the conversation. So that whole area, yes, Milan, New Mexico. Yeah, it's not good. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So yeah, so I've got to get to the doctor. So now that I have a decent car, when I see my doctor on the 28th, which is Friday, now I'm going to have her redo the referrals and get to the neurologist and get to I want to also talk to the weight loss doctor. So we're going to see how that goes. If you do weight loss, they're going to make me go through a plethora, do the surgery. They make you go through a plethora of procedures to make sure that you are healthy enough for the procedure. That's one, because the insurance companies don't want to waste their money on you doing the surgery. And then let me just make sure I got everybody. So that was Flatbed, Wendy. Everybody tell me how your temperatures are where you at. If you saw the video of the car, if you could see the temperature, we were 113 today. We hit 118 one day, and I think in the middle of the night, like 9, 10 o'clock at night, I went to go get something to eat because it was so hot, I didn't want to cook. I was just like, I'm done. I'll be on here for about an hour, Jaden. Love you too, baby. And I'll be on about an hour. So I'll be an hour, maybe a little bit more, because I'm going to talk about some, my crazy subjects with my crazy mind, the way it thinks. And people can, like I tell people, you come to the channel, either like it, love it, or lump it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm old now, and I just say what I feel or think what I think, and folks can jack with that or they don't have to. One of the things about me, like I said, growing up, I was pretty much a loner. My best friend and me, we got close, but both of us would kind of say we loners, with the exception she married and got a husband. She said you and one other lady at her job are the only friends she really have. She don't jack with too many folk. and Jane is Gemini kind of thing. I'm not into astrological signs in the sense that most people, where they worship them, or all right, baby, where people worship or believe or use it. But I do believe people, I just told my sister-in-law this, that people born around the same times have some strong similarities. I notice people born at certain times. So I do believe that we may have some strange similarities in the patterns. It's like the wise men who, I'm doing a study for Matthew, which I got to get into an updated one on Matthew for my little Christian group. But the wise men were called magi, but their actual profession were astrologers. So they studied the stars, which could tie itself to astrology. The difference is that some people use astrology to base things on in their life. That gets into some what we call witchcraft in the Christian arena, but I do believe there are similarities to people born at certain times. So I do know that people who fall under that line that they call Gemini, they do have that twofold personality. And I fall between the border of the Cancer and the Gemini, as they say. So I got a little wide spectrum on who you get. So I have to, that's why I say, we thank God for Jesus. Thank God for Jesus. But it says something that the wise men were astrologers. So they came and they identified, there was things in their study that identified this miraculous birth that was going to happen. And they came and presented him with, was it frankincense, myrrh, and I think gold, if I remember correctly. I could be thinking of it wrong. I'm pretty sure frankincense, I'm pretty sure gold. I can't remember if myrrh. I think myrrh was it, but I can't remember. But so I'm doing a study on that, and to realize that the Magi were actually astrologers, and which means they studied the stars. There's nothing wrong with studying the stars. It's once the stars start getting into what we call your astrological signs, when people are using it in that way where there's a problem. So, but I do believe people born at certain times have certain similarities. I just found out my sister-in-law was Cancer like me, and I was like, oh, okay, might be why I kind of like her mind. I can kind of tell. The other sister, like I said, and I've got in-laws on both sides, but even on Grumpy side. So my sister-in-law, the one I met, I like her. I like her mind. And that brother, he's my youngest brother. And then the one who is the brother above him, I raised both of those. His wife. So let me put it like this, because I talked about her a little bit. Upon meeting, she's got a really sharp. She's a smart aleck. I get a smart aleck. Will pop off on you in a minute. I get attitude. However, what I will commend her on, because of what I grew up under, she loves her children. I identified she's great with kids right off the bat, and that to me was a winner. With her, I also don't like wimpy ass females. Excuse my French for putting it like that. I love the Lord, but I'm just going to put it like that. I don't like wimpy females. So I don't like wimpy butt females. I don't have any other way to put it. And I call asinine. Asinine. I don't like that. With that, I can't stand a wimpy woman. I don't like that. But I also don't like an overbearing female, which was my biological mother. So, but I do like the fact she loves children. I could tell that, and I thought that was a good thing. So she wasn't going to be, in my opinion, an abusive mother. However, I think she may be the opposite of my mother, which is over coddling maybe to her children. I don't know for sure. But just some of her posts that I saw on social media, I got that. But I would rather see that than what I grew up with. But then also, I think from her other half of her culture, the more Latino side, they tend to be that way with their children. It's like their children can do no wrong. And so that is what bothers me. And what I hope is that they don't end up being a Monty, where they're overly coddled and then they have a false expectation of life similar to what we're seeing with this new, I'm going to say the 30 and under crew, where they have this, it's my way, I want it my way, everything, no matter how foul, how messed up, how jacked up, how butthole-ish they are, it's all about them. And it's their way or the highway. We'll get into that here in a minute. Because this last weekend was some stuff. Kathy, what's up, baby? Anyway, let me see whose weather. 90 degrees, honey, 90 degrees. I pay for 90 degrees here in Arizona, in Phoenix. It's 113 degrees. I don't know where the rest of y'all is at. Tell me about Texas. I don't know if Maryland was in here. My buddy Maryland. I think Maryland was in here. So if you in here, let me know about Texas and Maryland and where else y'all in the country with the weather. I know for us, it's been hot. We haven't, so there had some rain, but when we say the valley, we're talking about Phoenix metro area. We haven't had a good rain. Linda says she got a little bit yesterday, but normally we get a good rain that just goes through this whole valley and flushes. My back patio is muddy right where my gate is. We have not had, I would pay for 95 degrees, Kathy. I pay money. We've been triple digits, man, for about 4 or 5 weeks now, longer. And don't get get me wrong, Phoenix can get hot. It's gotten up to 122 degrees in Phoenix. So it's not unusual to get hot, but what it is unusual, and I'm going to say since global warming has been happening for a long time, but since the climate change has been really kicking in for the past few years, this is the first time I ever remember going this long with no rain across the valley. I mean, some kind of thunderstorm or storm coming across the valley. We haven't had anything. And that's what is really strange, is that we haven't had a good storm at all. Trying to think. Yeah, we haven't had anything. We were supposed to have some rain, and we did. I mean, they've had it in the outer areas, but nothing that has just really gone through the valley. Oh, flatbed, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Well, I hope your truck gets up and fixed soon. Does that Petro have a repair shop? I know there's a Pilot down the road, not too far from there. They have repair. Do they have a repair shop there? Because it's a hole in the wall little town. Ain't nothing there. There's that Pilot that's down the road a little bit. That Pilot ain't too far. Now I know they have a repair shop. Ooh, 86. Well, 80, yeah, that's hard, Tiffany, because 86 in Louisiana, that's like 113 with that humidity. I bet your humidity is hellish. Probably feel like 120. Because Louisiana with that, I love your food though. But Louisiana with that humidity is something else. Oh, do you have to get towed? And where's the dealership? Because the closest dealership, well, there's a dealership in Albuquerque. So they're going to tow you back to Albuquerque? Because Albuquerque going to be closer than Phoenix. Yeah. Because Albuquerque going to be closer than Phoenix, ain't it? Which one's closer? Because I think Albuquerque going to be closer than Phoenix. I could be wrong. You got a Freightliner? I think, are you in Freightliner? Or are you in Peterbilt? Let me know which one you're in. Anyway, I'm joining the gym. Probably as soon as I see. I gotta see what this check looks like, because this check I gotta finish off. Had to break my rent up because I had to pay. Because I didn't expect the down payment for the insurance was like $418. Insurance is high as hell. I got the next payment because I had to pay first and last month, and I didn't realize it's weird because I'm like, wow, I got to pay the next insurance payment. Well, I've almost had the car almost 4 weeks. I didn't realize it went by that fast. So at the end of the month, I got to pay the next car insurance. It's $200 something a month. Oh yeah, I know it's hot. It's hot, Tiffany. I got to pay that, and then the car payment is coming up mid next month. So middle of next month. The good part is that it's landing right on my paycheck. So I love that. So once I catch up, but I'm going to somewhere between this paycheck and probably my next paycheck, I'll be joining Planet Fitness. Oh, you had a Volvo. Okay. Are you going to try to get to Phoenix, or are you going to go back to Albuquerque? Because where's the closest Volvo dealership to you? Which one's closer? I mean, because Albuquerque is a trucking town, so I know you're going to find a dealership there. And I know Phoenix has a dealership. So, I mean, either one. But I'm just trying to figure out what's closer. Because where you're at, you're not that far out of Flag. Well, I went with the company called Freeway Insurance in order to find an insurance company. Two-phone thing. Red was acting up, so I uninsured Red and parked him and did gonna go back. Yeah, Albuquerque's closer, and that's what made sense to me. Plus, it's a trucking town, so there's a Volvo dealership there. And it's closer because you're not that far out of Albuquerque right now. Just going back those hills, dropping down. But the good part is as you're going back in Albuquerque, you're just dropping down. You're not climbing up. Coming back to Phoenix, you'd have to climb up more and then try to go down Flag. And that would be hellish with the truck that's not working, especially that mountain going through Flag down into Phoenix. Smarter move. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It doesn't matter even with the weight. It's just the smarter move. You got too much climbing to do with the engine if it's not doing well. Whereas if you go back to Albuquerque, you're dropping down, not up. So that's just a smarter move. You got that, the hills that go, but you're dropping down into Albuquerque when you pass those casinos. casino. That route, I think it's Route 66. That Dairy Queen. Fat button food. God is going to work on me. That Dairy Queen, I love that place. And they have pozole soup that you can get from the little truck stop store. And then they got them pickles. Yeah. And beef jerky. Yeah. I like them. They good. I'm just saying. Um, I've never done, I don't know if they have showers there. I don't know if they have showers there. I didn't know. I used to stay in that truck stop parking though. I just like that little Dairy Queen there and that little truck stop store. I just don't know if they have showers. Do they have showers there? I never know. I don't think it's too expensive, and I never went into the casino because I know you could stay in the casino. I know a lot of people went for like the. I never ate in that casino. And they got that hotel with the casino. I never did that, but I'm wondering if they got showers there. That's something I never knew. Um, but back to it. Let's talk about the insurance. Kathy was asking about insurance. So the insurance company I went with a broker, and I was calling around. So there's a twofold problem. I used to be with State Farm. State Farm will not insure the car. They won't insure Hondas and Kias because of the theft issue. Another company that I did, and also the legacy or the freeway insurance did here in Arizona, was a company called Progressive, which you guys know. Progressive also would not insure the car, and they sent me the adverse letter because of the type of car, because of the high theft with the car. So I had issues, A, because of the car, and B, because I de-insured Old Man Red, because I was kind of riding in to work with some people from time to time because I just wasn't comfortable. And Old Man Red's kind of gotten parked for a minute. So he runs. Because I was able to move him. I just, if I could roll in, I did that. I just didn't trust it. And I drove him in to work a couple times, but I de-insured him. So because of that, they want to see that solid and they don't want any breaks. That and plus the theft issue. So I went with the company called the Freeway Insurance is a broker agent. And the company, they found me at the best price I could find without me having an app where you're tracking how I drive. That I cannot. And this one gives me full coverage with glass. It is $1,000 deductible. I may change that later, but I was looking for the cheapest monthly. Full coverage, 218 bucks, and it's a company called Legacy. That is a little high, but it's probably because of the car and the fact, like I said, I de-insured Red, and I only had him on, and I hadn't been in my own car insurance for a while because I wasn't driving for a while. My car, I drove out there Monty stuff when he was alive, and I didn't have to worry about any insurance because he had his car insured, and even the other piece of car until I got rid of it. So I really didn't. I hadn't had insurance other than Old Man Red. So I'm not too upset about that. This is the first time with full coverage for a while. And probably in 6 months, I'll see if I can find something cheaper, which is what the broker agent said. Do 6 months under this company, or she can send a couple of months, but I'll probably do 6 months. See, we'll go back and I'll look again and see what I can get. But State Farm, because I had previous insurance with them, and I like State Farm. State Farm I like. I don't know much about Progressive. Linda's with Progressive. I don't know nothing about them, but I really enjoyed State Farm. What I'll do is 6 months, and then Navy Federal, who is one of the credit unions I'm with. I think Hartford is one of the ones that they have. If you're Navy Federal, I'm gonna reach out to them after 6 months with this insurance and see whether or not I get a better discount. Farmers was another one I looked at, and they were kind of. I'm not a big Farmers fan. They're now tied to MetLife, and I'm not MetLife whatsoever because we won't even go into the whole saga with MetLife. I'm not a MetLife fan at all. My experience with MetLife has not been good. Just even dealing with some stuff with Monty's past stuff and how they handle stuff. And Joe said that a friend of his had the same problems with MetLife. They're weird. So I'm good. In MetLife, Amica. I'm not don't know familiar with Amica, but I'll look into them. The name is familiar, but I'm not familiar with their insurance too well. But that's what I'm using. Um, but yeah, I gave you guys a tour of the car. I'll respond because I know some people said nice car. I'm still learning it. I have zero. It's a lot because I'm old school. I missed a CD player. This tells you when you know you're getting old. I'm like, they ain't got no CD player, and I got a goo out of CDs. But it does have an auxiliary jack, and I do have a car portable old Sony. I actually have two of them. I used to put them in the trucks. So if I didn't have the truck, if the truck didn't have what I needed in it, or the CD player acted up, I could jack in with the. So I had that when I was in my when I truck. I also could jack it to a portable speaker. So I have that, and since it has the auxiliary, I'll probably take one of those, and I can use it as a point. I also didn't show you on the side. It gave you two other plugs. You could open those up, and I can put two more jacks in there to charge. And then there's a charging jack in the back trunk because the passengers in the back do not have a 12 volt. That's the only thing I didn't like. But I'm not giving a whole bunch of ride to a whole bunch of ninjas anyway. So about the only person who's ridden with me, Joe did the test drive with me. And then Linda, I picked her up, and we're going to talk about that. So, I'm not going to do everything in order of my subjects today. Why don't we leave the weed conversation for last? I don't do weed, but I'm going to talk about it. And I let y'all chime in on y'all opinions, okay? And if y'all not watch this later, y'all can chime in the chat below and tell me if I'm crazy, but I have my viewpoint, and you probably aren't going to change that because I'm old and I'm just believing what I believe. We're going to talk about the weed conversation in a minute. Spices. I showed y'all those two spices. So, let's go to the spices real quick. What I do, weed, spices, and aliens. We're going to talk about that too later. Let's talk about spices first. So, the paleo, the lemon pepper I just pick up. Lemon pepper is one of my favorite spices. I love lemon pepper, one of my favorite. And the one that I like so far is the Kroger, which would be Fry's if you're here in Arizona, Kroger brand. I love their lemon pepper seasoning on their generic. Excuse me. That would be Smith's in some place, Kroger here, Fry's Kroger in Arizona. Smith's is another one that's Kroger as well. But Joe, we went to his house for a get together. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. I love him, but I'm going to just tell the truth of it and do what you want to do. I can't fake the funk, people. I just can't. I think after a while, I'm just real about stuff. And I don't know, some people want to live in delusion. I'm not one of those. I'm just going to face it and be what it is. And maybe I'm a butthole, and hell, I come from two buttholes. So I am just what I am. I can like it, lump it, or leave it. And at 55 years old, I really don't care what people think. The older I'm getting and the more that I've been through in my life, the more I'm like, I really don't care what you've been through, but I don't care what you think about me because you ain't walked in these shoes. And if you walked in these shoes, maybe your attitude would be different, but I don't know that mine will be. And I thank God for where I'm at because I probably could be extra special. Well, I know I would be extra. Actually, I'd probably be in prison. So I already know God has blessed me. Well, anyway, the spices that I put up, one of them, he invited me and Linda over for menudo. And then he made these burritos. Menudo was good. I have had menudo once before, but I got very sick. Kathy, I cannot with you. Kathy, I'm so done right now. OMG, I'm weak. Oh, sis, I'm weak. We're going to talk about that in a minute because I'll come back because I think I got sick at work. I'll tell you about that in a minute because somebody came in high. They came in high. They be coming in high as kites at my job. But we'll talk about that in a minute. My job doesn't do drug screening, which I wish they did. But I think these people are so desperate now for employees. They don't do, and the sad part is my job is federal government tied. And the federal government has not legalized marijuana. So, and I've never smoked a day in my life. I don't do any drugs other than what is prescribed to me from my doctor. That's it. Zero. And you probably know why, because I'm sorry, zero. I guess my thing is food, but anyway, the spices, I'm pointing to them because they're over here. The spices was, Joe made these burritos, baby. I am not a fan of chorizo. My mother cooked with it because the pervy stepfather, he liked certain food. And one of them was he liked chorizo. So she cooked a lot of black food or what I call Latino food because that was stuff he liked. And so she would make chorizo and eggs. Now, I ate what was given to me because she beats the hell out of you or you wouldn't eat if you didn't eat it. Like, I hate lima beans. To this day, I can't stand lima beans. I hate lima beans. You cannot make lima beans good. It would have to be really hidden. I don't know what it is. They're horrible. They're just I don't like the flavor. I don't like the texture. I like beans. I don't like lima beans. I'm so on navy beans, but I really hate lima beans. Lima beans, they don't have a chance in hell with me. They're gonna have to be really hidden in some stuff for me to eat it. I can't do it. So, one of them was chorizo, and I ate it, but I don't like greasy food. I don't like some people see stuff and they like, ooh, good, like chicken. Now, chicken has got to be drained. I don't like chicken real greasy. But all of us eat KFC, and KFC to me is one of the greasiest chickens around. It's okay. KFC is not KFC. Churches. Churches is not my top. That's greasy. It's not my top favorite chicken. My top favorite, if I did fried chicken, would be KFC. Okay. And I'm not huge on fried chicken anymore. I don't know when it changed. Probably in my 20s, because every blue moon I just had some fried chicken a couple weeks back. And it was so hot, I didn't feel like cooking, and I was going to stop for something else. The place I was going to stop was closed, so I ended up going to KFC. The one thing I like about KFC, I love their coleslaw, and I like their mashed potatoes and gravy. I can't explain it. It's still good, even to this day. Some restaurants have lost they finesse. That is still good. If I do fried Bojangles, why have I had that? We don't have that here in Arizona. Bojangles is in the South. I think I've had them somewhere in the South, and I think they were decent. I can't remember them. I like them way better than Churches. I'll do Churches, but it's not my top favorite. Now, one thing I do like from Churches is that fried okra. I do like fried okra, but I like okra in general. You can boil okra, you can fry. I don't care if it's slimy. I like okra. As long as it's salty enough, it's got some seasoning on it, I like okra. I like okra in gumbo. I like okra boiled. I like okra fried. I like okra. As long as it's tender and it ain't hard, I like okra. I didn't do my garden this year. The critters are real, but we're going to come up with a solution. And I think my sister-in-law was on to something, because we talked about this, and she talked about she ordered something from some place. I got to find out the name of the place where where you can get stuff. And what I think I'm going to do is raise beds. I think, Lord willing, I'm here a little bit longer because rent's cheap. I'm going to do some raised beds back here. And I'm going to, because right now I got garden bags, but I think I'm going to do raised beds. And then I think I'm going to have them build me, or I'm going to build for myself. Now that I got the car and go get stuff, I'm going to build a netting or a screening, because my issue is critters. And the other night I came home, y'all, there was a black beetle. No lie, that thing was about this long. His antennas was as long as his dang body. And I flicked his butt out the way. He was sitting at the door like, hello. I'm like, oh, ninja, no. And when I come home, there's like the lizard family on my back door. That's the ones who was eating my food. They had some more children. And them little ninjas, it'd be like 7 or 8 of them ninjas sitting on the back door. And I guess I don't know what they think. I don't know, because I didn't grow no lettuce for them this year. We didn't grow nothing. I got weeds back there, but eat the weeds. I ain't grow nothing, because every time I start, I get pissed off, because my garden get eaten and I'm mad. And then I had to fight tomato hornworms. So I ain't even put my tomato plants on when I really want some fresh tomatoes. we're gonna get it done. Right now I'm working on stuff in the house, and then we're gonna go out there, and we're gonna have to put on our thinking cap on critter battle, because we're gonna have to be critter battle. And I'm gonna do some what they call companion planting. Like, I'm gonna have to grow asters whenever I grow tomatoes. Asters are little flowers, because they draw a wasp that will kill tomato hornworms. I don't really want wasps, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Then I gotta find a lizard solution, because I didn't really want to kill the lizards, but I don't know what to do about them and their tribes, because their tribes is eating my stuff. They ninjas. And they eat my lettuce. My lettuce will grow up. Next thing I know, it would be cut in half. And then the little ninja be on the side of the planter. I'm like, what? So I haven't even gone out there because it's messing with me. Okay, good. What's good for which one did I mention? Okra? Okra good for diabetes? I don't know which one I mentioned. I like okra. I haven't done any okra because I grew up where you go outside and got fresh okra, and getting okra in the grocery store, and frozen okra sucks. I don't know, because some of that, I've frozen okra and I was very disappointed. I was pissed off. I tried to do some gumbo and the okra was just, it was too hard to me. I was like, yeah, I don't know when they bought. So I'm gonna have to probably go to the international markets and go in there and pick some okra. But I'm used to going outside picking your okra off the plants because I grew up with grandparents who grew okra. And okra off the plant, you know when it's tender, you know when to pick it, you know when to cook it. I'm just saying. Back to it. So I hadn't had chicken, but we went to Joe's. He made gumbo. I mean gumbo. He made menudo. So the only time I ever had menudo was back in my 20s. There was a restaurant out here called La Canasta, and they're still here. I think they're owned by somebody else now. And I had menudo from them, and it made me sick. I don't think it was necessarily the menudo as far as menudo itself. I believe it was food poisoning. So I believe something in the menudo wasn't where it is. So if you understand what menudo is made of, it has tripe, which is like chitlins, in it. And then it has whatever else. Anyway, I got sick as a dog. I was doubled over. My friend was making fun of me because my friend Josh, she's like, "That's what your black behind get, because you always try, you always trying something new. Your black behind is what you get." And I was skinnier then. I was like a size 13, 14 back then. I wasn't as big fat as I am now. And I'm doubled over, and she was a big girl. Oh yeah, I love okra. She was a big girl. So she laughing at me because she's big when we were in high school, but the girl could blow. She could sing. Okay, opera sang. Classical opera sang. So Jossie, she laughing at me. I'm like, dude, I was sick. So I never did menudo again. And Joe says, you need to have me cook it. And I was like, okay. And it looks good, but my experience wasn't good. So he did cook it, and it was good. It has a very corn-based broth flavor, which is probably how they make it. It has hominy in it, which is a type of corn, tripe, probably onion and everything. It was red spice. It was good. It was good. But he made burritos. So Linda won't eat. She doesn't eat tripe or chitlins or none of that. So he told her he would make her something different, and he made these little burritos with chorizo. Baby. It had chorizo, refried beans, egg. Chorizo, refried beans, egg. I think that was the main part, and some cheese. And child, them burritos was good as hell. I only got one because he gave me menudo, but he made her 3. So, and I was like craving. So I asked him, I told him, I said, your menudo is good, bruh, but what did you do to the burrito? I need to know what you did to the burrito. Y'all got Starbucks. You know, Starbucks is not my top favorite, but they little frozen, what is this? Frozen mango lemonade. It's pretty good. Anyway, so Joe made her these little burritos. But what he used, we both asked, because you could taste the flavor was really different. Not different bad, but different like, and he knew I don't like chorizo because of the greasiness of it. Well, I think I'm going to ask him, but I figured out where he gets his chorizo from, because when I got these, I have a Sprouts directly across the street from my house. Now Sprouts is cheaper than, what's that other place? Whole Foods. And it's supposed to give you because you're getting stuff from direct farms that they get the stuff from, right? And it's supposed to give you a better health experience. You got more organic produce, more unique produce, and the next place would be Whole Foods. Well, Whole Foods went under Amazon, so be honest, you don't know it's not probably as organic as it used to be. So, and Whole Foods is still high as hell. Okay, I'm just going to say. I love going to their store. I love the layout. It's kind of a cult kind of thing going on. It's like Trader Joe's. And I need to go to Trader Joe's. I haven't been in years. I love Trader Joe's. One of my favorite shopping experiences, Trader Joe's. The whole layout, the unique little foods they have. And to me, it's made for more like a single person or a couple. It's not made for family shopping. But it's made, if you single, Trader Joe's is your friend. If you like a little couple, Trader Joe's is your friend. I just like the layout. I like the whole, it's not big, but you get unique stuff. And some of their spices, like they got a 21 seasoning spice, bomb. Haven't been there in a while, because I've been since prior COVID crap. You know, we still kind of got COVID, but we're not where it was before, pandemic level. So across the street, Joe says he gets this thing called paleo, which is a seasoning. I didn't know it was seasoning, but he told me. So y'all see I took a picture of it. So I'm a cook. So what we do, if you a cook, this is what you'll do. Lick it off your hand. You taste the spices to know how you want to use it. So I taste it, and it's good. It's really good. Well, while I was there, also they had buy one, get one this month. So I'm going to go back in. I'm probably going to buy another one of Paleos on payday and another one. So they got buy one, get one 50% off. and they have yearly seasoning sale. So that's something not Trader Joe's, Sprouts has been doing for a while. So you can buy their seasoning and get 50% off. So I bought that, and I bought a lemon pepper. I love lemon pepper, and this is salt free. So that's another thing. I want to try to get away from salt because I do have inflammation that happens, especially in the left leg, because the left leg is where I've had all my blood clots. Where that were DVTs. Those have all been the left leg. Never had any in the right leg, praise Jesus. But because of that, this left leg swells. It's also where my ankle was fractured. Okay. So right now I'm wearing a compression socks, and I need to get some new ones. So I got a few things on the plate, but because the car has been an expense, just coming with the extra little $100 they asked for. And I already had to come double what I was expecting for the insurance, because I was only expecting to do a $220 down for the insurance when I was surfing around, because I was doing it based on the 2011-13 Kia opposed to the 2015 Kia. Sorry, my leg going to sleep right now, speaking of. Love Trader Joe's, and I haven't been in a while, Kathy. But like I said, depending on my money, I'm going to stop in there. So what I have realized is just something from the Lord. And it's funny because right now I'm stocked with food. One of the things that I kept having dreams about were food issues. So canned goods, I'm stocked with. I'm stocked with food. Use celery instead of salt. You talking about celery seasoning? Flatbed celery seasoning? Let me know if you're talking about celery seasoning. I'm going to be juicing celery. I've got some things that I'm starting to look into. So I'm probably going to be doing like celery, carrots, pineapple. What else did I look? Cucumber, and lemon. So I'll be getting to those because those are good detox, and they also help with sugar, and some of them even help, and ginger, and they help with inflammation. So I've been doing a little bit of research. So I've got some things that I'm getting ready to implement into my diet. Maybe that's why the hell celery is so expensive right now. I remember you could buy celery stock for about a celery, you could buy that thing for 99 cents. Them ninjas now talking $2 and change for That's why I need to get these ninjas to stop eating my food, because I can grow my own vegetables. I'm having a problem. I am thinking about still putting a tomato plant out here pretty soon. I might go to, what the heck this place called? Home Depot, and see if they got any tomato plants out there. Because even though because it's this hot, they'll do well here. Because tomato plants kick off at about 70 degrees is when they're there. If you plant them via seed, they'll kick off at 70 degrees and they'll produce. So right now they probably have some tomatoes. So I may end up going to get a couple of tomato plants at the big box stores that are already kicked off, and start trying and just put them out there. Because I love fresh tomatoes. There's nothing like a fresh tomato. It ain't like the store. You don't understand. There is nothing like a fresh tomato. But yeah, so I will be joining Planet Fitness is who I'm looking at. One, I like them because they're 24/7. I work 3:30 till midnight. Speaking of work, let me throw that in. My company just is doing, I love beets too. I like pickled beets. I could do juice beets. I ain't got a problem with that. I like beets in general. I roasted beets, pickled beets. I like beets. There's certain things people don't like. I like beets. I ain't got no problem with beets. Me and beets, we cool. No problem with them. My grandmother used to make pickled beets. Bomb. And she do little carrots. She make them sweet. Bomb. Monty's mom. Bomb. Love them. My mother's mother used to make peach ice cream. Homemade. Bomb. I'm just saying. Bomb. Yes. Anyway, so Joe made the burritos, and he used that paleo seasoning. I got off subject. He used that paleo seasoning. Bomb. If y'all got a Sprouts, I recommend it. It's called paleo. I ain't getting sponsored. Hey PJ, what's up, baby? I'm not getting. How hot is it where you at, baby girl? It's hot as hell here in Arizona. I'm just saying. The paleo seasoning, Sprouts, it's a winner. And I did the lemon pepper, salt free. So I'm gonna try to start buying more salt free seasoning. Y'all, if y'all saw my seasonings, I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, probably about 12 magnetic seasoning racks in my house. And I have a baker's rack where the whole top is different seasoning, and the big seasoning like you use maybe at a not quite a well kind of semi restaurant, from Costco. So I'm a major seasonings person. I don't believe in bland food. You gotta have flavor. Um, I've been kind of a little bit off my meat a little bit because I don't know why, and maybe it's summer. I haven't been eating as much beef with a little bit of this. So the pork, so chorizo, which I was getting into, he used chorizo, and it was the most non-greasy. So I didn't know where to go. His sister had mentioned using soy chorizo, which I hadn't tried. But I've used pork, I've used beef chorizo, and I hate it. And I don't know, initially from a kid, all I know is greasy, and everywhere I did, to me, I still get that greasy taste. However, Sprouts has its own type of chorizo. I don't have the packaging in front of me. Anyway, I should look it up. But Sprouts has a chorizo in a block, about a pound of chorizo, 16 ounce, in a block, like the blocks you sometimes buy of the ground beef, But so they had that, and the guy pointed to me. It's expensive as hell. It was $7. I think it was almost $8. And so I finally gave in and said, you know what? That was so good what he made. Let me try it. So I bought that, and I bought a pound of ground turkey because I like ground turkey. Some people don't like ground turkey because the turkey can be dry. Like I like my meatloaf sometimes I'll have where it can be juicy, or I'll have it where I want it lean. If I do lean, I'm going to use mainly a ground turkey and not do any extra juice to it. Some people, they want it juicy, so they'll add a lot more to it. I don't necessarily have to do that. I can do a lean meatloaf and have no problem with it. But I also sometimes have a craving for the more juicy, you cut into it moist. If I do that, I probably would mix a ground turkey with a ground beef, and then you'd add more juice into it, which I'll do one day. But it's every blue moon. But my meat intake has been kind of weird. It's like I don't want heavy. Like I have tons of beef in my freezer right now. I got like probably two whole prime ribs up in there. One of them is cut up. Another one is still this whole slab. He's on the side of the freezer. I ain't got it in there, and we're gonna have to get in there. And it's weird because the summer I would normally be outside grilling. I haven't. It's so hot as hell. I ain't grill that much. Um, it's hot as hell. So, and I got to get up, and I got what I call mystery meat, where I moved the meat into Ziplocs and didn't write what it was. So I just pull it out, and that's what's gonna get cooked. But I've been kind of sticking away from the meat a little bit and going more salad based. And if it is meat, it's like chicken in a salad. And I've been a little addicted to the salad and go. I don't know if y'all got salad and go. So I've been doing those a little bit. I like it's called the autumn salad, and I do it in a wrap. I like their stuff in wraps. And I like the Thai. The autumn salad and the Thai are two of my top favorites that I get from them. Um, and my Ninja Foodie. So anyway, Joe made the burritos. So I did one this weekend, and I wanted to use that paleo seasoning. So I got the chorizo. I got ground turkey. He also had, that was the other thing. He added potatoes to his. I did the potatoes, and he did refried beans, probably that he made himself. I didn't feel like going through that, even though I got tons of beans. I actually had some canned black beans, not refried. So I did the black beans. I did the ground turkey. I did a pound of the ground turkey, black beans, half a pound of the chorizo. Hey, man, haven't seen you in forever. What's up, baby? I did a half a pound of, and thank you, Mad. You're the one we got. That's why you got Mad actually helped me and sent something. And that's the reason we got the tripod, because my other tripod broke. So thank you. So this tripod, Mad, I ain't seen you in forever. So welcome, and how hot is it where you at? I'm just rambling right now. So I did a pound of the ground turkey. I did a half a pound of the chorizo from Sprouts, which was that chorizo is the first time I've liked chorizo, and I'm wondering if that's where he got his, because it's the first time that I had a chorizo that wasn't greasy. I don't know what they did, or it's the fact that I mixed it with the turkey and whatever oil it was implemented, but it's not nearly, did not put off the level of grease of what I'm seeing when I get it from Latino stores. And I'm gonna pay the $8 if I decide I want to do it again. That $8 for that chorizo over at Sprouts. And I said, well, Lord, are you trying to tell me to change it up and start eating more healthy? And maybe this is where I need to start shopping again. Because again, they're right across the street from my house. They're a little more expensive, but they're right across the street from my house. A lot more organic produce. The other place I've gotten my vegetables from is a place here in Arizona called Food City, which is a Latino grocery store. They were owned by the Bash's company, but Bash's got bought out by a company out of California called Ralph's. And what I did notice, racism, and just kind of mention it, what I did notice is that when Bash's owned it, so Bash's had 3 stores here in Arizona that they owned. It was a family. Bash's, the grocery store where you usually saw a lot of older folks shop, especially older white folks. Okay, this Bash's was a big store for older folks shopping. They were kind of pricey, but not nearly as pricey as this one store here called Safeway. Their other store was a gourmet store called AJ's. That is like gourmet and stuff was really okay. 70s. Where the heck you at, man? Where you at, man? You in Florida? Where you? No, Florida hot right now. Where you at that is 77 degrees? You up on the East Coast? You gotta be on the East Coast. Let me know where it's 77 degrees. I pay money for 77 degrees. We 113. I don't even know what it is right now. So we had Bash's, okay, but you got the moisture. So your 77 degrees probably feel like 100. I'm just saying, because you got that humidity. But it's still better than, well, I don't know. I'd rather dry heat the moisture. I don't do good in humidity. It's good for your skin and your hair, though, but I don't do good in humidity. Humidity makes me want to shoot myself. But it's pretty. So I had, it's Bash's, AJ's is the gourmet store, and then they had Food City. Now, Food City is the Latino store, so it's your Mexican folks. And so I'm gonna be honest, you would go to Food City and the produce would be crap. The food would be crap. It was like they got whatever was the worst that they got in, they sent over to the Latino stores, which I thought was negative and racist. Whatever was decent went to Bash's and AJ's, which was a gourmet store. AJ's got the top, Bash's got the second, and whatever was like not the best looking, it went to your Food City. Okay. Ralph's bought Food City, and I've noticed a huge change. I commend them. I will shop now at Food City, especially the one over here by my house. Produce, I mean, for the most part, I'm going to say all the time, but the produce has been better looking. It didn't look like somebody got whatever was left in the field that the rats had been eating on. I'm just being real. It wasn't rotten. Like I would go in there sometimes, the stuff would be just rotten and you picking through. I couldn't do it. So I noticed that. I noticed the meat selection looks better than what they used to have. And your price point is still good. So in today's world. So they aim towards a certain market, but they also know that market only has a certain number of dollars. So you can get decent like jalapenos, cabbage, lettuce, tomatoes, things like that. You can get it for a decent price. And bell peppers, they had them 77 cents each, opposed to $1 something that they got them over here at Safeway and some of these other stores that's charging these astronomical amounts for produce. Which is why I told y'all, get your garden going, even though I'm having garden issues. Because something was telling me, and I was telling my Christian folks, something is going to happen with food. Actually, I was talking to one of my trucker children, which I don't know if y'all knew that. I think I mentioned that trucker Nikki had gotten sick. She's doing good. She's out the hospital. She had to have emergency surgery for, it was appendix that went, and had sepsis sit in. And she was in a hospital in the South, unexpected for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. But she's back. She went right back to the road. I mean, I understand people got bills, but I thought the baby should take more time. But you know, when you got to do what you got to do. So God bless her, and was praying for her, and she did bounce back. So I don't know if I said that, but y'all keep praying for the baby because she young, but well, she younger than me. She don't be my child. She in her 30s, so she young to me. But she did bounce back. But me and her talking, and she said that she's starting to listen to some Christian stuff. And she said, this lady is saying some of the stuff you were saying about food and stocking up and stuff like that. I said, I can't tell why. I just know what the Lord puts on me. And all I knew, and right now, it's like even bouncing back from this whole car purchase, I really don't need anything other than fresh food or fresh fruits and vegetables. And if I really need those, I could go without them. I got canned goods. So I can make my own bread. I even got stocked flour. I can make my own corn tortillas and flour tortillas if I really wanted to. So I can cook food. I breakfast, hot coffee. All I need is water. Honestly, only thing that I probably would have to get is any kind of milk-based product for me, which would be like a coconut, oat milk, soy milk, cause me and dairy don't get along. Even though I sometimes do cheese, and I sometimes do ice cream, for the most part, yeah. And I got canned goods forever. I got rice, I got beans, I got canned rice and beans. Some stuff I'm gonna have to look at because it might have expired, but a lot of stuff, even canned, is a best by date, which means it's not necessarily bad. It just means that you might have gone past the date that they recommend you open it. But in a can, that stuff can sometimes last years longer than what they say. You just have to open it and see if it's any good or not. Um, but yeah, so pasta sauce. I mean, like I said, the only thing I really need is fresh produce. And honestly, if I didn't have to have that, I even got dehydrated onions. I could, you just cook them and they'll rehydrate with whatever liquid. So yeah, I'm okay. And I recommend, guys, if you still need to stock. I don't think a lot of people, they want to feel or try to see that things are going to go back to more of a normal. This is kind of the new normal, and I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get a little worse. Well, I think it's going to get a lot worse, and I didn't expect that. I just knew I was having strange dreams, and I like the bird flu. I was telling my group about an issue with chickens way before it happened. I had a dream about me and my mother carrying a chicken to the trash can. I told my Christian group, and then I don't know if it was a couple of months later that we all of a sudden talk about this bird flu pandemic or epidemic or whatever the hell it is. And I didn't know. I didn't know anything about it, but I knew that I had this dream about chickens. And here we have egg prices, $5 for a dozen eggs. I be sitting here laughing and go, ooh, Jesus. That's what I be doing because it's setting up for some other stuff. So, yeah. But no, out here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, Lord willing, and depending on budget, I'm going to start shopping between Sprouts and Food City because they are the least expensive. Well, Food City is the least expensive when it comes to vegetables that I would use. So, for example, they just had cabbage on sale, 3 pounds for $1.99. And me and Linda on our way out to go to do the menudo burritos with Joe at his house, we stopped at the Food City in Avondale, Arizona, which is where he lives. And I said, oh, I said, we gotta stop in here. We're gonna take something to the house. You just don't go to people's house with nothing in tow. So we stopped and got some orange juice, or not orange juice, orange soda, and some. We are gonna do frozen lemonade, but they were out of the lemonade, and they had pineapple juice, frozen pineapple. So we got the frozen pineapple juice, some orange soda, and so I was gonna make some drinks there, for Joe and me and his family, whatever. And then he made the food. So, but you don't go to people's house just to eat without bringing something. Bring a bottle of wine or some juice or something. Bring something, salad, a dessert. That's just how I think is right. Okay. It bothers me when ninjas show up and they don't have nothing in hand. They got their appetite, but they got nothing in hand. I don't care if it's family or not. You bring some food. You bring something, or you contribute in some way. A juice, bag of ice. What you want me to bring? Oh, just bring yourself. Oh, okay. Pick up a dessert. I'm sorry. I got an aunt that I need to go visit, and when I go by there, I'm gonna probably take a little apple pie or something with me for her. I'll pick up something. I'll pick up some subs. Something. I'm gonna pick something up and take it to her house. I ain't seen her forever. One of the old mothers of the church. I'm gonna go visit her, and I told her about this pie place. I'm gonna probably go buy a pie and take it to her, and because I told her about it, and I'm gonna go get a little pie and take it over to her. And just you just no, you don't go sit in people's house. No, 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 no. Um. Anyway, so that's how I found out about the seasoning was through Joe, and he used it in his burrito, so I used it, and it's amazing. I'll put a picture up after this. I made a burrito and a taco, and I bought my stuff all through Sprouts. So I got ground turkey. I got the chorizo, which was, I'm impressed with that chorizo. First time I've liked chorizo, and it was very good. And his was good because I was like, oh, I like the chorizo. I got to ask him if that's where he got it from because that's the first time I've ever liked chorizo. I got to ask him because that chorizo from Sprouts, not nearly the other chorizo I've had. Very, very good. And I got the lemon pepper, which is salt free, and I'm gonna try to start going more salt free, getting away. I'm I'm a sour salt person, so I can go that route. Let me see if anybody else has anything. All right. What else was I gonna tell y'all about? So that's just food. So yeah, I'm gonna be changing some things up, and y'all hopefully will see me on that journey. Having a better car has helped because I honestly I would hate going out to red. Like I said, I couldn't roll the windows down. Y'all imagine it being 110, 113. The back windows kind of fell down. When I got to work, half my shirt was wet. I was concerned because there was a white smoke coming from under the bottom. You got to click into gear. The turn signals didn't work. You got to hold the steering wheel because the car swayed. I mean, it's what I call a get you by car. It's a P to P, point to point, and then bring your butt home. It could only go so far because then the check engine light might come. It was too much. And I was like, okay, it just kept getting too many little things. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to make a decision. So God has definitely provided and provided. Let's say He'll give you more than you can ask, dream, or think. And even though it's a new to me, I mean, it's not new. Y'all saw the features in the car. There's stuff out. I, I had a new Scion. My Scion was a 2006, the original toaster one. It had some nice features. It didn't have all that. When me and Linda sat down, Linda looked at me. She said, "How much they want?" And I told her the price. She looked at me. I said, and the original price of that car was like 26,000, just under 26,000 original price of the rat car. You know, the hamsters or rats, whatever they bop in their head. I Like I said, I know about anything. I knew Kia when it first came out was a throwaway car. I mean, you got it until it fell apart, and then you got another car. Oh, we gonna get into the aliens. That's my next move. We're gonna talk about that. That's my next move because I'm noticing a lot more talk on the aliens. So let's switch gears then, because I didn't talk about. So let's, because flatbed done got us in the switching gears. So I want to, like I said, I'm gonna talk about some stuff. I'm gonna go in order. So we just talked about the spices. That's the spices. So Trader Joe's, the paleo spice, and that is for like if you're doing a paleo diet. I guess that spice contributes to that. So y'all check that out. That spice is really good. I'm gonna just say I used it. I did all my stuff, and it was the last thing I sprinkled was that and that lemon pepper seasoning without the salt. Oh, I did do taco seasoning. I don't know if he did, but I have a taco seasoning from Kinder, and I did use some of that. And then, oh, and garlic. Garlic, just seasoning, garlic powder, not garlic salt, garlic powder. Because there was enough salt probably between the paleo and the taco seasoning from Kinder. So, switching gears. Um, Aliens. So I have been noticing, which I love flatbed. Thank you for bringing this up. You humor me. So I'm going to come from a Christian perspective. For those of you who may be new to the channel and may watch this later, or you just joined and you knew I'm Christian, I say that. Please give us a like, thumbs up, share it out. I had a transition, I believe, in the last few years where I was in a backslidden state. I came back into Christianity because I really saw God move in me coming back here in 2019 in ways that I cannot even explain. Even the unctioning to come back here was the strongest I had ever had in 2019. It was like, go here, because I was working for a company that is no longer in business. I forgot what they call SRX, something like that. It was a refrigerated company in Texarkana, Arkansas. And I was working for them because another trucker had referred me to them. I was supposed to be training for them, and I had crazy trainees. And I had needed to get to the doctor. They were messing around and taking forever, but it didn't matter because all of a sudden on the last load I did for them, it was like the strongest. I was picking up a Tyson chicken load, went to get that load, and something said, go to the terminal and get fuel. It was so, I never had anything happen like that. It was just like, it was like somebody was talking to me. And it was this innate thing. It was like, go to the terminal and get fuel. Once I pulled into the terminal, all of a sudden, park the truck, go to sleep. I parked the truck, went to sleep. Now, I was supposed to deliver the load the very next day. Oh, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. I don't mean to offend, but I might. I'm just gonna be me. And like I tell on the channel, I got love for all y'all, but I keep it, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna go with what my Christian views are and what my mind flows with. Folks can jack with that or not, but I'm gonna be me. But we're gonna talk about it. So because you on the page where I want to go. So thank you. And I'm not offended. If you're offended, I'm sorry. But I try not to be. I try to keep it 100 on how I roll. It's just who I am. So back to it. So I had this instinctual thing, and I'm going to lead up to the aliens in this to get back here. And a lot of things happen to where there is not a doubt in my mind that God is in the details. There was an instinct to park the truck. There was an instinct to ask him about getting me home. I still had a little time, so I could have delivered the load, come back. Everything was like, it's time to go home. It's time to go home. And I was staying with my father in Lubbock, but home was not there. It was telling me to get back to Phoenix. I contacted Vivian, which is like my places, and that's where I would usually crash at if I had an issue, like when I fractured the ankle. And I contacted her and say, hey, I'm coming home, and I think I'm coming home for good. Something's driving me home. Can I crash? I'll be there. I'm going to try to find a job, back in a corporate job, and come off the truck. She said, yeah, you can stay till this time frame because she had a brother who was in prison and he was going to be getting out. So she needed to have the room that I was staying in. I said, okay. I put in for job and, okay. It's all love, flatbed. I'm putting that out there in general. It's not only you, but I always say, because I don't want to offend, let me say I don't want to offend. I know that I may offend and it's not a purposeful thing, but sometimes we offend because we're just being authentically us. And in a world today, you can offend people over stuff that is crazy. Like I might be offensive about what I'm going to say about the weed thing here in a minute because it is tied to a friend of mine. So, but I'm going to keep it 100, okay? Love them, but Shannon had to roll out because there's some stuff I'm not going to be around. There's stuff I don't do, and there's stuff that's just straight craziness to me. And that's me. Another friend of mine that I knew from a while back, and I still know her, this is the one who had to raise the money for her son, charity, whatever. That was madness. She has a saying, if you like it, I love it for you. And she from Compton, California. She said it years ago when I first met her. I was like, I like it. Meaning that whatever you got going on, if you like your world of weirdness and craziness, do you, boo-boo. I like it for you. I may not be part of it, meaning that I'm not necessarily going to be part of your cray-cray. But if you enjoy your cray-cray, do you. That's why Monty got left in Lubbock by himself, living in his cray-cray. If you want to be in your cray-cray, that's fine. But there's a point where we have to walk in some wisdom and keep ourselves out of the cray-cray, okay? So I'm not offended, but I may offend. So because there's some people, they live in their craziness. I'm offended when I'm going to walk into craziness. And I know to remove myself from craziness, and that's when my offenses come in. But if you like the craziness, do you. So back to it. I got really a drive to come back here to Arizona. This video gonna be long. We just talking. People can watch it and they can stop it wherever they want. So I had this drive to get back here to Phoenix. I got back here in August of 2019. Nikki is where I met Nikki. I talked to her. We had talked, and then we found out me and her cousin had worked together at Schwab. Me, Joe, and her cousin. Her cousin's name was Mona. We all worked together at a company called Schwab. And she's like, Mona who? And that's when I found out, oh, you related to Mona? And then Nikki got introduced to Joe. So we knew her, a family member of hers. So that's how I met Nikki, Trucker Nikki. And she's owned to be my baby. Kid. She might watch this. And so she probably get mad when I call her kid. It's funny because when young people, you call them kid, they get a little offended. And I'm thinking, y'all might want to be... I have one of my friends, she's younger than me, and she's a flight attendant for Continental, and I would call her kid. Let me call her kid today. That girl used to complain. She don't say... I say, I know that she don't... Girl, we getting old. She like kid now. She didn't like it back when she was younger. I'm like, you better like kid right now. Because when we get older, you feel it. So... I basically, a lot of stuff happened. So Nikki had recommended, there was a little trucking company because I had put in for a job that my play niece, Vivian's daughter, was working at. And I had put in for a job where she was working, but they was credit based, and I knew my credit was crap. I didn't get the job, but I also knew one of the HR hiring people because she had gone to a former church that me, Vivian, Vicky, all of them had went to, and she was the pastor's sister-in-law, so we knew her very well. Vicky got on. I didn't get the first job part because when they look at trucking, it messes you up, especially if you went to trucking, because a lot of companies look down on truckers. I'll be honest, a lot of people look down on trucking jobs. So it's hard for truckers to transition out of trucking into corporate jobs because they look at it as a negative industry, which to me is so crazy because those are some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. And they're some of the most dedicated people. I mean, dedicated to the point a lot of them ain't making money and live in poverty level, and they bust their butts and put up with a lot from off of them trucking companies. Anyway, back to it. So I stayed with them. I got back here, didn't get that job. Nikki had sent me a link for the company that there was what do you call them? A container trucking company, and they were looking for drivers. They were paying a bonus, plus they were looking, and all you were doing was taking loads from Arizona to California. And I was like, I could do that easily. I've been working out of Yoruba. Thank you, Mad. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people don't in no way understand the level of truckers. So they took containers from Arizona to California and they came back. That's what they did, just back and forth. I was like, oh, I could do that. So I'm thinking I'm clicking on the link for them. Well, instead, the link took me to Indeed and it took me to Night Transportation. Okay. Now, while I'm going to be honest and I'm going to say, and they might not like what I say, they got some racial issues up in that company. They really need an overhaul of their management. And no offense, and I grew up with Mormon people, but they have the strong Mormon, what I feel, discriminatory groups in there. They got too many family members working with family, and that creates a very toxic atmosphere. There's also some allowed racial behaviors that are horrible. I have recordings, so y'all can come at me all you want to. I recorded conversations of your madness. So the way I was spoken to was like I was a dog. I was less than. The way I was treated, and we won't even talk about what I visualized with a Middle Eastern girl that was from New Jersey, because what I saw with her, honestly, that girl should have went to EEOC, and had she, I think she would have won, because the manipulation, some of the stuff, and especially this one girl and her family, the chick who later became a team lead, she was just ratchet. And her and her family just ratchet, okay, just ratchet. Fact, point blank, period. And I got recordings, I still got the recordings to this day. So they can come at me all they want. The way I was treated in there, it was horrible. I'm like, who does this? But I was Christian, and I tried to come with a Christian. They told me God had delivered me. But also, sometimes you're put in a position, if y'all go back to the story of Joseph, where you might be put in a position where you're not treated the best. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, ended up as a slave in Egypt, later to come out and be second in command to Pharaoh, okay? But what Joseph went through initially was horrid, okay? It was horrible. Sometimes you're put in those positions for God to move you or to position you for what he's going to do next, point blank, period. And sometimes you got to hold your peace, which is what I did. I just held my peace. I tolerated what I did. But what I didn't know, when I walked in the door, they set me up with a laptop. Oh, in case you have to work from home. This isn't a work from home job. It was something that, thank you, Mad, you know what I'm saying? It was something that I did not expect. So everything that happened was very bizarre. I didn't get the job I was thinking I would get because I have a financial background. Instead, I got a job in the trucking office background. Now, there's a twofold situation that happened with that. I knew that after working in the office and seeing some of the background things, honestly, I never wanted to most likely go back into trucking again. And if I did, I have to work for myself. I'd have to be an owner op. I cannot. There's a game with trucking and a treatment of truckers that is horrible. And the amount of money that the trucking companies are raking in, and I won't do that because that's their private information. But that background, truckers are getting paid slave wages for what those companies are bringing in. So you want to go to like a Prime and follow their methodology and make yourself some money. You don't want to do this little bitty trucking company stuff, even if they're the big boys, and work for chump change. You need to go to somewhere like a Prime or get your own truck. Make your money. No ma'am, no sir. Or go to a smaller company that's going to pay you the wages. The little company out in Lubbock, that white transportation I work for, I'm gonna say I would recommend them. The only thing irritable about them is the owner is a control freak. That's it. I'm gonna say that he's too controlling. He needs to let, if he would leave his drivers alone, set the expectations, and let that driver drive. It was a great little company. I loved it. His equipment was well maintained. The route was good. You made decent money, but he was annoying. That was it. Other than that, good little company. Good little company. You want to go with something like that. You want to go with something like that. The WFX company, they paid well, but there was some games with that too. You just got to have the mindset whether you want to play with the game or not. I was done with the game. I was done with slave wages, and after working in the office, that was something I saw. Also saw what Bill told me. Bill told me, he said most trucking companies are racist as hell. He said you can look in the office and they, no offense, they lily white. A majority of the folks in there are white folks. You will sometimes get a heavier Latino group, but unfortunately, some Latinos will start swaying towards a white mindset because that's how they get promoted in the arena of the white world. I'm just keeping it keeping it real, and they play the game. They learn to play it very well. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest. So sometimes you'll get that. It just depends. So trucking is its own weird. Um, she said, no, 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 don't go to Prime. Um, well, I don't know. I know, and they are abusive. I don't know about the abusive part. What I do know is some of the Prime people I know have done well under the Prime methodology. That's what I do know. They've done very well. They use the Prime, their method of trucking. I can't speak to all of Prime because I have not worked in their office. I'm only going on drivers that I have interacted with behind the scenes. And I know some drivers did very well with Prime financially. Now, there comes to a point where I think, as with any training company, if you're not training for them, you may not do as well. As just a single owner op, not training for them, yeah. But you have to, if you go to a training company, even Swift, in order to make decent money, you're going to have to train. Even Night owns Swift. But if you go to a training company, you're going to have to train to make money. Point blank, period. That's going to how you have to make money. Otherwise, it sucks. Back to what I was saying. So I got back here. You know what? Okay, Flatbed said, speak on it because that's what Trucker Bill told me, and I'm gonna be honest, he didn't lie. And especially after I got into the offices, and like when my one friend came and she was trying to work there, she said, "Have you walked this company?" I was like, "No, I had," because I never did the orientation, but she did. She said, "Shannon, there ain't any of us. I think me and you are one of the rare few up in this company. Everybody up in that company white." She said, and a few Latino folks. She said, a lot of white people. A lot. And I was like, okay. But I knew it was Mormon owned too. And I had worked even for University of Phoenix, which was Mormon run. And Linda and I can attest to some treatment within the mindset of that group. And don't, like I said, I grew up with Mormon kids, and kids might be cool, but that underlying racist tone that was part of their religion, it still is very alive and well within their ranks. Am I going to say all of them are racist? No, but I am going to say there is still a very alive and real. And they can tell me, oh, we incorporate black people and other culture, child by. It's still very alive and well within their ranks, especially if you've ever worked for the companies that they predominantly run. And I have seen it for myself. We saw it at University of Phoenix, but I really saw it at night. And it's really sad. But let God handle that in his own time. Everybody got to answer. Everybody got to answer for their stuff. So I ended up going there. It served its purpose because then all of a sudden COVID hit, and I was one of the first people they got out the door, and I was ready to go because they had already given me a laptop. So coming in the door, it was like that saying, God knows the end from the beginning. Hey, good night, Kathy. God knows the end from the beginning. So coming in the door, the plus was, let me see what time, y'all. I'm going to try to make this because Kathy, like, look, you've been on here a minute. Okay, we got time because I got homework to do too. So basically, God knows the end from the beginning. So knowing that he knows the end from the beginning, there were things that I didn't know were going to transpire. And one of the things that transpired was COVID. So I was ready coming in the door to go work from home. And then they were talking about right as the vaccines came out, but they were going to be, there were the groups that didn't believe in the vaccine, conspiracy theory, Trump supporters. And so they were going back in that office, even though they had people that had gotten full blown bad COVID. We're going back into the office, and you ain't going to require folks to get vaccinated. Oh, hell no. And I got to go back in there with that little crazy girl who talking to me like I'm a dog. So at this point, Linda and I have been talking, and I ended up over at Carvana because they were still doing work from home. So I went to them, and that served its purpose. And then the whole thing with Carvana laying off and some of the other stuff that was transpiring, and Linda got downsized out, then I got let go. So at that point, I ended up at the bus company for a little bit, which I believe also was God's way of showing me you're done with transportation. The bus company could pay good money. You could make a lot of money. But what I also saw was that I was done riding the bus because something had transpired with people mentally, and you saw a lot of drug usage, a lot of mental health issues, a lot of the homeless. And it was different from when prior to COVID, when I was riding the bus. What, like over here near me, it's like a camp. It's like they put up whole houses at the bus stops. They got their tents, they got their baskets, and at the bus stops, they're doing their drugs. I done seen needles, stuff's on foil where they're burning and smoking it, needles in their foot, and we not talking insulin. They doing something else, and it was just absolutely, and the mental stuff was beyond scope. Okay, so that happened, and the whole thing with the train, and I was like, okay, Lord, you telling me and transportation are done, because I kind of knew that back with trucking when I got back here. And then fortunately, and I believe it's the Lord, I met a lady who was thinking about coming to the bus company. I don't know if this is something she's just doing in her retirement days because she's close to retiring. And she's been with the company I'm at now over 20 years. And she said, my company will be happy to have someone like you. What this lady does, I do not know. All I know is that she referred me in. I did not have to interview with anybody. The next thing I know, day after Labor Day, I get an email saying, hey, you're going to be in the job offer interview, this or the job offer information, and pick your training schedule and all this other stuff. Which scheduled time did you want to meet for this offer recruitment thing? I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even interview. I didn't interview. I'm thinking it's still going to be an interview. I'm thinking, well, did I read it wrong? So I dressed for it. I'm at the video. It was not. It was literally the offer. I got to pick my schedule. I got to pick the training schedule. I signed my offer letter. I ain't interviewed with nobody, so I don't know what this woman did. But next thing I know, I'm working for a company that contracts to the federal government doing insurance. And within a very short amount of time, I even got a promotion and a raise, making more than a bus company. And they give bonuses just to show up to work. I get bonus just to be at work, just to sit in the seat. They give me an attendance bonus. Thank you for showing up to work. More than a bus company. Y'all winning. I show up to work, they give me a bonus. And because of the promotion, there's the position I was in prior only got a bonus up until a certain point. Then the bonuses would cease, and then they pick up again during what they call open enrollment. Well, in the position I'm in now, I do both that and another part of insurance, and I get bonuses for the whole year. And the bonuses get bigger during open enrollment. A lot bigger. Okay? So I do that, and they're about to also offer the work from home. So I don't know if I'll be part of that. They had us send a survey. Not everybody got it. You put in about work from home. I put in my information for that. I hope I get it. I have good attendance, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. Matter of fact, getting my desk ready just in case I'm one of the group, and that probably would have been a plus, but there's a reason everything happens. So had I known a little bit before, I might not have gone and got the car, because I could have, if I knew I was going to be work from home, I could have stuck it out a little bit longer. But it's okay, because I realized I need a newer car. I just need a better car, and it opens me up to going from here to go to the gym, from here to going to a grocery store that's better, from here to going to necessary doctor's appointments. So God opened that up. So that's kind of why I believe everything happens. So as far as the aliens, getting to that, God has done a lot for me in my viewpoint. And so to me, like even the apartment I'm in, most people are paying 1,400, 1,900. Some people are in $2,000. My friend Joe, his nephew and the nephew's girlfriend paying 2,200 a month for an apartment. That, man, come on with me. Come on with me, but God, okay? When I got back here, those jobs happened. No matter what took place, I made it through. I had 2 months of where I didn't have, well, a month, about 45 days, where money was funny. My best friend came in with the loss of the job. My best friend and Joe helped. And then Linda, she contacted, I didn't even ask. I didn't know how I was going to make the next section, how I was going to make my rent. Because when the whole thing happened with the light rail, I'm like, and I didn't even know about the job. So all that happened, and that's what I say, God has watched out for me. It's like, I know this car gonna sell. I know God gonna make it happen. I just don't know when, but I know you gonna work this out, Lord, because that's how he does. He works stuff out for me. And there's no doubt in my mind. You can't tell me a God don't exist. I believe it's Christian God of the Bible. God exists to me. And even when Joe and Linda look at my life, they said, both of them, they said, and Linda will say it's God of the Bible. Now, Joe will be like, something is working on your behalf. Whatever. Honey, God's working on my behalf. Because even this apartment I'm in, I didn't have to do an application. I didn't do any of that. She didn't do a credit check. She knew me from a prior apartment complex. This is owned by a different owner. She said, I just need a pay stub. I had only got one pay stub from Night, and it wasn't only for 1 week of pay. So I sent her what I had. That's all she required. I got the keys to this apartment a month early with no rent. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I got the keys with 1 month because she said, because I was like, I ain't got the deposit right now. I had paid everything. I was staying with Vivian. I think I might have given her some money. My money wasn't, I just gotten a half a check. I didn't have the funds. Even where she lived was in Levine. And I had to get all the way to North Phoenix. Joe helped me with a rental car because I didn't have a car. And the bus ride from out there would have been crazy. I would have only gotten like an hour, maybe 2 hours of sleep. And some of that sleep would have been on the bus. Then I would have had a long stretch of either trying to walk or pay for a Lyft or Uber to get from the last bus stop to Vivian's house because there was no bus near her area. And Joe said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you a rental. So that got me back and forth tonight up until I moved into this apartment. And when I moved into this apartment, and I'm going to come to it. This apartment was actually meant for someone else. When I reached out to her, she said, Shannon, I have the perfect apartment for you. She said, but the owner is renting it to one of the maintenance men. I was like, oh, okay. Will we find something? Let me know if you have it. And I told her the price range. I told her, it don't have to be the shiny nickel. I just want to get hit in the head. Dude, this apartment it's in a historical district in Phoenix, not too far from where my other apartment was at. It's an older apartment, block and brick. When I first got in here, the heater wasn't working. So they gave me a whole new AC unit. So that helps with cost because you got a newer unit, which is better on cost. When I got in, me and Joe, we met because Joe was at a doctor's appointment down the street. I was coming to see it. She said, can you move sooner than later? And I said, well, what's the time frame? And I told her, well, she thought I was paying bills where I was at. I was like, that wasn't it. I just only had a certain amount of money to handle certain stuff. And so she goes, and I didn't have enough money for the deposit and the rent that was going to be due. So she said, and I asked for $700. I think I was asking for like $700 a month. I didn't want to go over $700. She said it's $645 a month. Now, in that time, the rents are in 2019, rents are still $1,400. I came in, Joe looked, and I looked at him, and he said, this is it. I said, yeah. 1 bedroom. It's not huge. I don't even think this is 700 feet. It might be 600, 700 square feet, which is good enough for one person. 1 bedroom, bath. Everything had been pretty much refurbished. The kitchen is tiny, but it's refurbished. All tiled throughout. Bathroom, you could tell they had done the tiles and everything had been redone. It's a decent little apartment. This wall, that's concrete. The walls connecting to the other people and the outer walls are all concrete, and the outside is block brick, whatever. I think it's block or brick. The inside walls are sheetrock, but it's relatively quiet. You don't hear much. I have a back patio, which I wanted a little patio to garden. I have that. I have a front patio, but it's a walkway, so I don't put anything out there except a little table and a mat. I got neighbors, but my neighbors are cool, except I did have a weed smoking neighbor next door. She gone, praise Jesus, because I couldn't even open the back door. It was horrible. I hate that smell. So this apartment 645, and then later on she said, "Oh, by the way, that's the apartment that was supposed to go to the maintenance man for his sister." Wait for it. But she didn't show up. This was a theme even with the job from night. The guy was supposed to interview some other people after me. He told me it was refreshing to talk to somebody who communicate. Really, a lot of times what they mean is we didn't expect ninjas know how to speak. So he's like, it's so refreshing to meet someone who knows how to communicate. This is a Mexican guy who was a supervisor, which I kind of liked him, but he was really caught up with the family drama from the lead chick. So he got ixnayed because he was really controlled by them. Um, but even with that job, he contacted me back sooner than I thought with, well, I was supposed to interview a whole bunch of other people, but everybody after you canceled their interviews. This is exactly how that happened with night, how I got the night job, but this is also what happened with this apartment. So the purple person was on show, and this is just how things flowed. So when I say God is in the details and where I'm at in my walk, I am very, very, very much a believer that God has moved. And even Joe, even though he can't say God is doing it, God is in the details for me. So for me on this channel, God is going to be in the details, especially where I'm at going forward. If you look at my past stuff, you can see I wasn't there. I was up and down. And I haven't taken any of that down for the most part because I believe that we need to see the growth of people in their life and also not only spiritually, but also age-wise. I'm not the 40-year-old Shannon from before. I'm the 55-year-old Shannon, and I'm walking more in my Christian belief. It's a different person. And it's the same and different because we're growing and we grow in grace and wisdom as we go along. What I have noticed as a Christian person is I'm seeing the talk of aliens. When did we see that we would ever talk about UFOs and have open committees? And now they talk about them because, oh, this exists, and they show you these blurbs on the TV. And people now, media stuff, you believe whatever you see. It's like Linda sent me something today about an earthquake here in Arizona. And she sends it, and then she says, well, I didn't feel anything because it was a Twitter feed. And I'm like, Linda, you didn't read this. And she said, no. She said, and I said, Linda, you be killing me. You don't read stuff. She's one of those instant, you see what, and you kind of believe what you see. And I'm like, dude, you need to investigate more. So for me, I'm not a Twitter fan anyway. So I instantly, if it comes from social media, I'm looking. I may use YouTube for news channels, and I'll also Google to see if any news channels are talking about it. The earthquake that they felt was up north of here in the Prescott Valley area, somewhere up there, like that area. Okay, so north up here, like going on your way to Flagstaff and stuff. Not something we necessarily would feel down here in the valley, but they felt 4.36, something like that. Y'all can research it. Up north of here in Arizona. So she sends me that. I'll kind of giggle. Guys, let me say this. This is the best way I can put this. We are seeing a lot about aliens and things of that nature. So when you ask me what I think, or just something I'm going to bring up, I believe that we're going to have a rapture that's going to happen. I'm a firm believer. I don't know how you can be Christian and not believe in the rapture. People say, well, the word rapture is not in the Bible. The word itself is not, but the actions are. It's mentioned in a couple of different places in the Bible. You can go into Matthew. You can go in the book of Revelation. It talks about it, and I think there's some Old Testament I don't have right now off the top of my head where it mentions it. The word itself, rapture, it might be our American English version. The original word, I believe, is harpazo, which means a snatching away. Usually snatching away by the head or hair. And so it means a snatching away in the original, either Hebrew or Greek. And I think it's harpazo or something of that nature. It's the original language. But there's also the conversation that Jesus is saying, no man knows the day or the hour in which I'm coming back for the church. So those conversations are telling you that there's going to be a rapture. The thing that's going to happen in the world, though, is they're going to have to make an excuse or something in order to get people to be calm And right now, if we can inundate you, and there's some demonic forces behind this, into thinking that there are aliens in the sense of aliens, then you're going to think that these people got abducted by aliens and not maybe this Christian God who's been talking about rapturing his people. Maybe. So you're going to believe that some creatures came. But also, what this does, it allows for maybe demonic beings to be walking around on the planet that would be acceptable. I don't know if y'all ever seen the show V. That was really a good one. And there's one, the old school one and the new school one. And the little planet, the little alien ship come in, and the people have. Or y'all remember Independence Day with Will Smith? That was great. And the people like, "Woo, we're so happy!" And they blow the hell up out that building. Whoo! And that mentality is what I believe is going to be very prevalent here, in the sense that you're going to welcome some stuff that ain't godly. And it's going to open up doors, but it gives you a tangible mind of, oh, okay, so there's aliens and there's other life forms. And so the aliens came and got all those people that disappeared off the planet. So it was alien abduction, and that's okay. And maybe those aliens might, I don't know, I'm just giving some context of thought. They might introduce themselves and they might end up throwing some other things on the table, and you just might go right ahead and bite into the apple uh, fruit that's just bad and buy it if you get stuck in the madness. And then you're going to make some choices. And the choices are going to be a number based buying system to get your food and feed your family and try to survive and live. Because if you don't, then you're not going to survive and live by those terms. And so that's going to control how you buy, because it's going to have to be a traumatic event that's going to push people over the edge. We already saw what happened with COVID. COVID pushed us into an isolation. It pushed us into our government having a lot of control. Um, it pushed us into some major stuff. And men, we were like little cattle. We all did exactly as we should do, except for those who flipped, tripped, dipped, and skipped. And we all went into this, you know, okay, we're going to stay in our house and we're going to lock the doors. Don't get me wrong, I was cool with that. I ain't got no problem with it. But it also showed me that there's a coming mindset and a coming government control, not only within the US, but worldwide. Because every government did it. You know, we're saving you, we're helping you. And that's going to be the same excuse they're going to give you when it comes to the mark of the beast, the 666, and all of that. All that's what's going to play into play. But they have to have a reason. And I remember when I was a teenager, when I first came into belief in Christ and we were going to a little Assembly of God church, I remember that is exactly what was some of the excuse that they mentioned. They're going to say alien abductions. The movie Left Behind, that book and movie series, exactly does exactly that. Initially, they're going to say it's aliens, or they're going to say it's maybe due to nuclear weapons. They're going to come up with some excuse that people are going to want to hear to rationalize the situation that happens, that some of them will be totally unaware of. This is why it's important for Christians for us to talk about the rapture, because some people are going to come back and say, well, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What's the commonality of the people that were gone? Well, they were believers in Christ. Okay, then they're gonna come to what's the commonality of who of us we was left behind. Now they're gonna have some people who gonna be Christian, what they thought was Christian, who gonna be left here because they wasn't in the right way. That's why I'd be like, Lord, whatever you do, keep me close to you. Don't leave me here. Whatever you got to do with my life, whatever you got to do to keep me on track, keep me on track. Don't leave me in here, because once the church is gone, you want to talk about cray cray? It's gonna be straight up madness. You better have guns. you. You better have land in nowhere land. You better have bunkers, and you better have food, because it's gonna be extra. Not only extra with the folks in control, it's gonna be extra with the planet, because there's judgments that are gonna pass down, and things here are gonna get really bad. And I'm talking right now, it's crazy to me. Everything we're seeing right now, this is just a foreshadowing of what's supposed to come. Food prices, climate, weather issues. This right here, child by this I be sitting there going, ooh, Jesus. Because it is madness on some of the stuff we're seeing right now. And a lot of people, even the politics and all the weirdness in that, it, child by this is a drop in the bucket compared to what's going to be coming. Okay. Off my alien situation. Now to the weed conversation, and I'm going to end this because I'm a couple hours in probably. Guys, I'll tell you a story. So I mentioned I got invited to a friend's house. Making menudo, making beach. I am one who is an avid avoid drama. I don't deal with drama in my own family, and I don't want to deal with drama in yours. My buddy, man, he's got some massive drama that I even warned him about before it happened because I was dreaming it, and I reached out to him and I warned him. He had a nephew who tried to stab him, or just a whole drama. The nephew that tried to stab him is back in the house, grown. Don't hold a job, but that's kind of something in his family. They're in and out of holding jobs. The nephew's grandma, who is my friend's sister, she's addicted to their mama, to where the mama is shisty and she don't raise her kids. So she done had a bunch of kids. She done, either the system has, or some other family member has, or the children's daddy's parents have. Madness, okay? And the mama's shisty, from theft to drugs to a whole bunch of stuff. And my friend took on 2 of her children, okay? Both have issues, but one has more issues than the other, but both of them got issues. And one has violence, and you can look in his eyes. I can look in his eyes. My heart goes out to him. I look in his eyes, and I can tell he cray, okay? You can look at people's eyes, and they say, "Was the eyes are the windows to the soul?" You can look at this baby's eyes and tell all the rocks ain't in the box. He's respectful when he meets me. He's very respectful. Both of the nephews are. All of the family has always been kind, but there is a lot of family drama within that family. Whew. So I tell Linda, hey, we've been invited over here for Menudo and Burrito Day. At first, I was no, because my goal was, I really don't like family drama, and I had a feeling that all the family was going to be here. I didn't ask, but Linda likes Mexican food, and he's been wanting her to come, so I'm like, okay, we'll go. I'll come pick you up. So, and also gave little man Hope, the green car, a chance to get on the freeway and drive and see how it handled. So we got out there. Like I said, we stopped at Food City. We got some stuff. Oh, cabbage. They had cabbage bigger than my head. Cabbages. I got a big old cabbage in the refrigerator. So Lynn and I, we go all the way out there. We hang out. So most of his family there, older people. I like one of his sisters is a school teacher. I like her a lot. One of the nieces is there. They are a Catholic family. They got the big old statue of Mary in the corner with a bunch of beads and stuff on it. They got a shrine for his mama. This big picture that's probably as big as the wall, with his mama on it. And his mother was always kind of me, very controlling, in my opinion. But I think a lot of mothers are very controlling, depending on who they are. But I do think she's a mom. But some of the control things that go in his family, generational curses, that pass down to some of the things that are negative with, especially the sister and her offspring and grandkids that he raised, a couple of them, semi-raised, he came in a part of their life, is bad. So one nephew, he has moved back into his house. This nephew is the one with the major mental issues, the one who tried to stab him, the one who did some other things I won't mention here. A lot of issues. And he loves that child's dirty draws. I can't explain it, but there is a point, and we used to call it back in the day, there's a point of something called tough love, okay? Tough love means I'm not going to be there to rescue you all the time, and you need to, handle your stuff. You need to hold a job. You need to pay for your own place. Well, nephew's doing weed. Now, he has even driven, because I saw when he was picking me up occasionally, marijuana pamphlets in the car. So he's driving them to these, at the time before it was legal, the medicinal marijuana places, which I'm trying to figure out, he crazy. I don't see marijuana being the solution to the crazy. He might need to be on some psychiatric drugs, but I don't think marijuana gonna make his situation worse. So he tells me that the nephew got a medical marijuana certificate. I'm sorry, I'm not driving you. I had problems with medicinal marijuana in the first place. Now it's legal here in Arizona. I have even bigger issues. To me, I have a problem with the whole smoking part. I can see maybe consuming it in a pill or in, I guess, the edible stuff for people with glaucoma, maybe some cancers. But even then, because a lot of times I'm finding that the people who are using it honestly are using it because you just want to use weed. You want to smoke. Okay, just want to smoke. You want to use it. You're making excuses for it. It's like that couple, the baby died, I think here, I don't think it was here in Arizona, from ingesting edible marijuana gummies. And she gonna try to say it was, I'm like, please, I can't. I don't believe that. I believe you want to do weed. That's what I believe. Because most of the time, folks, we're not talking glaucoma. We're not talking cancer. Oh, I have anxiety. Next. So we're at the house. I go to the bathroom after eating, and I go to tinkle, and I come out, and see, the Lord knows. And when I came out, I said to Linda, I said, hey, we're getting ready to have to go because I got to get home and do homework. As I'm walking out the bathroom, this nephew, well, first, before I even went into the bathroom, these thuggy dudes came out the back. And these, I guess, were friends of the nephew. And I mean thuggy Latino dudes. I'm going, and they say hi, they speak, but I'm like, okay? Next thing I know, the nephew says, oh, we're going to run up the street. I'm like, oh, crap. that feeling. I go to the bathroom. Now, the uncle who don't like this particular nephew, he seems to be cool because he lets him drive his truck. And they didn't like each other. They used to have combat. I'm like, what's going on? Well, this uncle has a foot cut off. He smokes. He goes out. Matter of fact, he got out after his foot was cut off and called a friend. So his friend come get him so he can go do some drugs. Then he got back to the house. They had to call an emergency because he was all out of it because he's a diabetic. And he just got out the hospital with the foot cut off because of diabetes and then went and did some drugs. It's madness. Madness. All living in his house. I'm sitting up there. I'm like, it's time to go, Linda. It's time for us to go. And Linda's like, oh, I want to show you. You can show me that video in the car. It's time to go. As I'm saying that, the nephew's back and he walks out with the bong pipe, whatever they smoke the weed in, and walk. This your uncle's house. That's disrespectful. I need to understand what the Sam is happening with the world. But like I said, Jesus is coming. Because anytime that is normal for a family member, and that's normal to you, something is wrong. That is not normal. You gonna do that kind of stuff, I don't agree with it, but don't do that in your uncle's house. That's disrespectful. You stay in there for free. You got your ghetto behind friends, and y'all gonna go to the backyard and smoke weed. I can't. So that's my last time ever going to his house because that was too much for me. And I said, okay, Lord, you tried to show me. And I didn't listen because I said to myself, I don't think I'm ever going to. And I told Linda this. I said, I broke down and went, picking her up. I was like, okay, let's go get. I don't do it. I can't. And to the job situation, the company I'm at right now, they don't test you for marijuana. We had 2 young ladies that got laid off. And I like one of them was sweet. I just want to hug her. Every time I saw her, I got that kind of, I grew up in a ghetto home and I don't know love and I don't know better. But she was always very sweet to me. She called me Miss Shannon. Thank you, Miss Shannon. When she left, she said, bye, Miss Shannon. She was always sweet. It was almost like a little girl would come and when she would talk to me. And I always wanted to give the baby one of those ones you want to hug and hold and say, baby, God loves you and there's freedom. I just always wanted to do that with her. There was just something about a little black girl, young. And she was pregnant. Didn't look like she was pregnant when we were in training together. And I'm like, pregnant with what, a thought? Because you couldn't even tell. It wasn't until she was like 7-8 months before she really started showing. And we ended up on the same team together. But after she had her baby, she came back. I guess they knew they were getting laid off, and her and another girl, Latino girl, they go out to their car on their break and smoke weed. They smoked one day. I was almost sick because I was coming over to think. It was making me sick. My stomach, I felt like I was going to puke, and I got a really bad headache, which is what Kathy was telling me. I'm never, and I had to talk to my supervisor. I'm like, look, I hold a CDL, and not that I really want to drive again, but if I ever have to drive, I don't need that crap in my system. So even getting it on a secondary level, I can't. I said, secondly, this is a job. I know they don't drug test, but this is not you. You talking to people and look at, why are you high as a kite? It doesn't make sense. And yeah, I can't. Then the soup tell me she's a user. Well, that's fine. You can be a user. I don't want to smell it on you, and I don't want to smell it on them. It's just straight up. I can't. So she had to come to Jesus meeting, and I think they left not shortly. But even still, the girl was very nice. And I said, I don't hate the babies. I like both of them, but I can't have that around me. I personally think it's disrespectful to either live or even be in someone's home. And this is something you do. I'm sorry. I get that it's legal now. I get that people have medicinal. I don't agree. And I think that, to me, it's very disrespectful. Here your uncle has company. For you to even pull that out like it's normal. And that's said a lot more to me. This is normal. He might be using too. I don't know. Because he'll make excuses for stuff. That, to me, is not normal. And I think it's disrespectful. Y'all gonna put down in the comments what y'all think if you want. But I think it's disrespectful. And as far as everything that I'm seeing right now, everything is lining up. The mindset of people, this Bible talks about that this was going to be the last generation before the coming of Christ was going to be a very self-centered, very knowledgeable a group. And we got knowledge out the yin yang. You talk to a kid, feel like you're talking to an adult. The way they speak, the way they think, it's like you're talking to somebody your age range. But then they crazy and they want everything their way, very self-centered, very self-driven, very narcissistic. And thank you, man. And they want it their way, everything their way. I got the little supervisor I have, like her. She's a very sweet person. But this baby, if it ain't her way, she wants it to be her way. And now that I really believe that the management is, and they should have known this going in because she didn't have attendance issues before she became a soup. If it ain't her way, well, I don't come to work because it's not fitting my schedule, my mind. I'm like, ooh. Come in, I have anxiety. There's a whole bunch more going on with the baby, and I'm like, ooh. Then some of the other young people, they'll defend that because they think on that weird level. Well, she's not here to defend herself. How can she? She's never here. She takes a lot of sick time. She's out the office a lot. Well, other supervisors, yes, because they're picking up her work. They're having to watch her team. This baby should have never been allowed to be a supervisor. While there are things, I think she's sweet and she has some things that would be really good, but the base supervisor thing is that you got to be an example. And she's not. Very nice. Don't bother you for the most part, do your core job. But how can you correct me when your actions are not good? So it's this entitled, strange, I'm going to do it my way, even if it's detrimental. And then if they can't do it their way, they use things like she said, oh, they're bullying me. They're bullying you because you don't show the work and they told you would have a problem becoming a supervisor and you want to do it your way. So since it's not your way, it's bullying. It's not bullying. It's facts. Bullying is something my mom did. People who want to be boisterous and overpower you and overtake you. That's what bullying is. That's different. This is, I'm not getting my way, so you give it a name and you want to, no. It's way, they got too much going on. We just got told about the shared bathroom with genders, and I'm just like, it's beyond scope. Everything is cray, and weird. There's no way you can't tell me Jesus is coming. He's coming. And when the world disappears, or when part of the people disappear out the world, everybody will be like, oh, aliens, oh, nuclear. But there are going to be some of you who saw this, or you hurt others, and y'all gonna say, no, this might be that rapture that them Christian folks was talking about. That's what this might be. And you're gonna watch a whole bunch of things, but I'm gonna say this, and I always say this at the end of the video. If they come with that number, don't take that number. Don't take that number. Don't take that number. If you take that number, you giving yourself a straight shot to hell. Also, when you take the number, you basically have opened up and said, whatever demonic forces come on in, and you won't operate on your own accord anymore. Something will be operating within you. So don't be deceived. I know you might be hungry. There are going to be places you can break into. I got plenty of food. You break in here, y'all can have it. That's why I tell people to store. I'm like, I don't know if I'm snoring for myself, or once I'm raptured out of here, prayerfully, I would like to go in the rapture, not the casket. I'm just curious about what the rapture is going to be like. That's why I want to go in the rapture. Because I didn't know that I would live to see this time. I'm so blown away, because as a teenager, we talked about it. In the Assembly of God church I was going to, I grew up Black Baptist, but we switched in my teen years to Assembly of God because I wanted to. And the Assembly of God church, I got learned about spiritual gifts and spiritual things, and we learned about end times more. And there's stuff that's going on right now that they talked about when I was 13 years old, and I'm 55. It's happening right now. I'm sitting up here, that's what I said, I'm sitting up here going, ooh, we Jesus, and laughing, cracking up laughing. And there's a lot of Christians right now who are deceived by politics. Y'all caught up in politics, ethnicity, conspiracy theories. Y'all need to just get caught up in Jesus. Read that Bible, learn about Jesus, pray, Lord, don't leave me here, because the rapture's around the corner. Point blank, period. It's coming. There is absolutely no way where we're at right now that this is not imminent. It's on the doorsteps. Everything right now is pointing to it. There's no way. We're on the cusp. We got wars. We're sitting on the cusp of a war between us and China. You got the war going on with the Soviet Union. And all of this is going to eventually end up on the doorstep of Israel. All this is happening for a reason, because it's aiming to an ended goal. Because time is wrapping up. Everything that the Bible has told us, most of those prophecies have been fulfilled. We're seeing right now the behaviors of the generation we're dealing with right now. And like I said, this 30 and under crew, them folks is weird. The stuff and the agendas, even on alternative lifestyles, that's being pushed, totally has been talked about, as in the days of Noah, as in the days of Lot. Everything is right where it's supposed to be. All of it. And my prayer is that y'all wake up. That's all I can tell you. I talked to a young lady who's been watching me, who has some similar family issues and has had a life issue. And now I'm seeing where she's starting to like, okay, I need to look at my spiritual life. I ain't got to tell you. The Holy Spirit has a way of showing folks. So it's 122 minutes for me. It's been 2 hours, and I didn't mean for this to go this long, and I got homework to do. Guys, I'll probably do a video. I don't know if it's next week or the week after. These are the things that I want to talk about. Y'all can tell me what y'all think on the whole weed issue. For me, exit stage left, we left. Me and my friend Linda, we talked about it in the car, and she's like, well, I got family. I was like, I don't care what your family does. I will let you know I won't be part of that. So you already know. Again, this is where offenses come in. If you offended by that, then you just offended. I don't want no parts to it. I've never smoked weed. I don't like being around it. I've smelt it, and I do not like anything to do with it. It's disgustingly smelling to me. I don't understand. I like my faculties too much. Am I going to sit here and tell you I do not have a cocktail? No. If I go out to a Mexican restaurant and I have Mexican food, I might have a margarita. I'll be honest. I will do that. But I'm not somebody who's going to be intoxicated. The Bible talks about drinking. Now, if you have a drinking issue, you should not drink. I do wine. I like wine. I'm honest. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend to be what people look at as this box Christian, which may not be true when you go read the word. And a lot of times what we align ourselves to thinking a Christian does not even line up with the word of God. That's like I had an aunt. Well, you need to forgive your mama if you call yourself a so-called Christian. Her mindset is forgiving my mother means interacting with my mother. Guys, if somebody was abusive to you, and they're still an abusive person, they still lie, they have not apologized, they have not corrected their ways, why are you going to sit yourself in a state of abuse? And the word of God tells you about dealing with wicked people. That falls into wicked behavior. I pray she gets it right. Same way I prayed with Grumpy. But there was a point where I realized God, he didn't send me back to Lubbock. He got me out. Monty's time was coming. Monty was Monty. Monty was stuck in Monty's stuff. Monty was narcissistic and he was stuck in his own way. I pray he got it right. He had come a long way from talking to friends that he had and some of the other stuff I knew about him, and people saw differences, but there was a point where he hit a roadblock. I hope that he got it right at the end. I can't answer that question, but it was time for me to go. That's kind of where you're going to be at. And I've also realized that this friend that invited me, we're not hanging out as much anymore because he has a journey. I don't know that I see him being raptured. I pray he gets it right when the rapture happens. But based on some of what I know about him, he is a New Ageist. He claims Catholicism as the family religion. But when you talk to people who are heavy Catholics, some of them, and I say heavy, or they claim Catholicism as their faith religion, some of them have zero biblical understanding. He can't tell me crap about the Bible. Zero. They know the up, down, some prayers on the Mary beads, and that's it. They don't know the whole Christ, the whole prayer through Christ. They don't know. They've been taught religious rhetoric. How that's going to work with salvation based on biblical terms, I don't know. I have no idea. It doesn't line up. Go research it. Like I tell my Christian group, don't believe me. Go read it for yourself. Y'all want to know about the rapture? Don't believe me. Go and look at the Bible. And you can read, y'all can use, look, you got plenty of, put in rapture Bible verses. And go and make sure they're coming from Christian sites. And let it tell you. Some sites are going to tell you, oh, the rapture is not in the Bible. The word rapture is not. But the action of the rapture is all in the Bible. Yes, it is. And it has parts in the Old Testament and for sure parts in the New. So anyway, y'all, I'm out. 2 and 2, be blessed. Mad, good to see you. Anybody who watches later, give us a like, thumbs up. Kathy, Flatbed. Let's see who else was in here. Who else? I got Kathy. Wendy was in here. Good to see you. PJ, good to see you. Kathy. Flatbed. Tiffany, good to see you. Tanya, good to see you, baby. Mr. Jaden, good to see you. Let's see here. I saw my brother in Christ in here. Jay, my brother in Christ, good to see you. I think I got everybody. So anyway, good to see y'all. Give us a like, thumbs up, share it out with whoever. I'm just being me, y'all. 2 and 2. I find if I see another subject, y'all know I'll come in and talk about whatever's going on in this brain and in my spirit. Anyway, peace. Love y'all. Deuces.